How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, as you probably know, because you're here watching. To my right is my wonderful co-host from the Epic Marvel Podcast. Who are you, wonderful co-host?
My name is Curtis Findley from the Epic Marvel Podcast, and I'm here in Iowa because I'm visiting some family for the holiday, and so I get to do this live stream not from the comfort of my own house, but from the little corner that I can be in where I'm not going to be disturbed by everybody else.
I love the bedpost. I love the bed.
Yep.
That's a good look. It's so different than your usual epics. I was asking you earlier before we went live. Couldn't you have just taken a couple of epics to put in the bag? Now you know to take them with you when you go to Iowa and visit.
I took one epic with me to read on the plane. It's the Dark Avengers Modern Era epic that I got recently, which is coming out in February, or no, coming out late January,
Yeah,
and it's
thing
good.
is
It's great,
huge.
but yeah, it's somewhere else. I can't hold it up right now.
That thing is huge. I just picked it up the other day. That has more pages than my oversized hardcover of Dark Avengers because it includes the Utopia crossover, the Dark X-Men crossover.
Yeah, it's 552 pages, I think. It's the largest epic collection that we've seen yet.
It's a big boy. It's a big boy.
Yep.
So I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank everybody for being patient. I know you've come to expect these things, but we also have to wait for Marvel to give us the approval. And of course, things are always shifting around, so much so that they shifted around yesterday. So I'm hoping by next Thursday we can announce the first batch of new books. And what we're going to be focusing on today is the reprints and maybe something a little bit extra at the end if you stick around. And a big thank you to Curtis for putting this together. I love that I have so much help doing this. I send him the info and he's already on it. Even on vacation, even at his bedside, he's there. So playing Marvel. It's not what I said. But a big thank you to Marvel and everybody in the collected editions department for working really hard to get this info over to us. And a big thank you
Yep,
to Gabriel because we
definitely.
don't have to. I mean, this stuff will be out in the catalog. I think I want to say late February, early March is when this stuff will be hitting the catalog. You guys just get a first look or an early look to get that to get those wallets ready in case you're missing any of these reprints. And then, of course, with the new collections. Now, I have been asked by a number of people on our Patreon, and a couple people emailed me, like, what's going on with some of the titles that were previously announced. You will be seeing some of those on these next batch of announcements, the ones that we've done. Oh my goodness, was it the last batch, Curtis?
Yeah, the last batch, like we said, it's constantly shifting, and even after we made an announcement, it's shifted again. So they removed like 6 or 7 titles
Yes.
from the announcements last time.
Yes.
So
So
yeah,
you will be seeing things in here like the Aliens Epic Collection that was originally supposed to be in February. It's shifted. Like the dates are shifting. And then at the end of those announcements, we'll probably mention the 2 that are not there, but they haven't forgotten about that will be shifted over to the new schedule, which will be, I guess, February to July, maybe, of 2025. My gosh, yeah. So that's what's going on. And those that have been waiting, thank you all so much. So, Curtis, this is you, man. This is where you shine. So, oh yes, Happy New Year! Thank you for that reminder, Amber. Thank you for that. Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. This is my first morning stream in the new year. I did a stream with Amanda yesterday where we ranked the DCEU movies. That was a lot of fun. But this is my first morning stream. Oh,
did you what was the first book you read in 2024?
Fantastic Four. Like as soon
Right.
as I read those 2 volumes by Ryan North, I had to message the group and I was like, this was amazing. Like I
Yeah.
haven't been this excited for Fantastic Four in a long time. And both of the volumes are strong. So yes, I can't wait for volume 3. I actually went to Marvel Unlimited and read the issues, what was it, 13 and 14. I think they're 13. Yeah. So it made me really happy. Like
Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely great. I've read the first 4 or 5 issues or something, and yeah, just fantastic stuff. No
Yeah,
pun, actually pun intended.
those were the first ones. I mean, I finished out the year with Watchmen because I was reading Watchmen in December. It takes me a while to read Watchmen because I know how to pace myself after reading it for 3 decades. Like I know to take breaks in between.
Yeah.
But I started with Fantastic Four, and that was the first. I read them both in one day. Amazing.
Great.
Oh, this is a good run too. Spider-Man by Tom Taylor. That's a really good run. I'm so glad they have reprinted or put all the trades that were out of print into one thick trade. Hope 2024 started well for everybody. Thank you for that. Are these reprints all on the reprint poll? I will say this much. I sent David a reminder of the reprint poll and what was missing from the top. I sent him the top 30. And by the way, if you're not familiar with the reprint poll, we do that every year. I'm probably going to do it around February/March, and I'm going to get my buddy Kurtis to help me and put our think tank together again to get this going, so you all can vote for the Epic collections you want reprinted in case you missed it this time. You haven't missed much. We haven't started yet. I'm reading Iron Man from Stan Lee, and dang, that golden suit looks tacky. So tacky. Well, he doesn't keep it around that long, right? It comes and goes. All right. Kurtis?
You ready? You ready for this?
Yes, sir. I'm ready. I'm pretty sure everybody else is. All right. Let's talk about these Epic Collection reprints from August 2004 to January 2004. Oh my God, I wish. 2024. I would have been 20 years younger. Reading the Thompson Hawkeye run. Watch the Modern Era be announced in a week. Oh. I don't think that's one. I think you're okay for a while. Thank you for the super chat. Okay. Let's go. Kurtis, let me add it, and there we go.
Okay, here it is. Marvel Epic Collection Reprints, August 2024, January 2025. The first one on the list is coming in August. Daredevil Epic Collection Volume 19, Root of Evil, starring Daredevil, and as you can see in one of these, one of the issues it's collecting, Elektra is going to have a big role in this book as well, with her own miniseries, Root of Evil. This is the D.G. Chichester era. It comes immediately after Fall from Grace.
And Scott McDaniel does the art in the Elektra Root of Evil, and I love those covers because I don't know if you remember the gimmicky covers they were using. It looked like concrete on it, and it's got these rough.
Right.
Yeah, I love those. How come we never had a complete omnibus of Atlas era, such as Rawhide Kid? I'd pay big money for a Sergeant Fury omnibus. Thank you, Rob. I think that might be the answer there. To restore that stuff would be big money, and it would have to sell. So I don't know how that would be done. I mean, we're talking about rare comics that would have to be scanned and restored, and that takes a lot of time. And Kurtis knows a lot more about that than I do because he's actually done color restoration. And
yeah, I think for Marvel, it's probably not worth the cost and labor for the return that they get for that material. However, Fantagraphics has licensed the Atlas era Marvel stuff, a lot of it. I don't know if Rawhide Kid is involved in that at all, but they just released the first volume of their Atlas Marvel Atlas comics, collecting a series called Adventures into Terror. And so if this they have a few more in the works, they don't get the same sort of like ground up restoration that Marvel does, but they still look great. So check out that from Fantagraphics.
Rob is saying that they did restore it. Are you talking about the Sergeant Fury? Because those have been restored. I'm sure we'll get an omnibus of that, but I was mainly talking about the Atlas stuff or the Western stuff like Rawhide Kid. I don't think those have been restored, at least not that I'm aware of. But
yeah, I mean, some of it has because they had the Golden Age and Atlas era Masterworks, so some of it has, but I don't know how far they got along in that stuff before, because they canceled all those lines, right? So some of it may be restored, some of it may not be. Who knows?
Okay, let's say they did 2 volumes. Is that enough for an omnibus, right? I mean, it would be a small omnibus, and then just kind of throwing it out
Well,
there. Maybe that's
yeah,
enough to
with an
pay.
omnibus, you'd expect them to be like the idea would be that the whole series would be collected. So I don't think that they would start with one volume
Oh,
without
so he
being.
says I have Rawhide Kid Volume 1 and 2 on Massworks, so there's way
Yeah.
more stuff out there. Okay, so
Oh
if
yeah,
that
Rawhide Kid went up like that. They went up to into the hundreds in their numbering. Like there's so much Western stuff that Marvel produced.
so I hope that answers your question, but Sergeant Fury, I see, has a bigger chance coming out in an omnibus format.
Anyway, hold on. I want to talk about this Epic Collection reprint right here.
Oh,
Do
this
you
is
know why this is? Do you know why this is significant, Omar?
because wasn't this a Quad Pro?
This was a book that was published or printed by Quad Graphics,
Quad Graphic.
and it has a
Represent
few issues.
Kentucky, baby. My old
Yeah,
neighborhood.
it had some issues. It had a weird spine issue where the spine was off center, and it had some random glossy pages right in the middle of the book for some reason. Don't know why. Some people had reported that the trim was kind of cut in a weird trapezoid way or something like that, so it wasn't straight. Some people even said some pages were falling out because there's very little glue in. So yeah, we're finally getting a reprint of this, and if the quality of the build of the book is something that you value, you might want to upgrade your copy here.
So this is my copy.
Yeah, let's see that spine, Omar. Show us the spine.
It's a
It
little
has a weird.
off
It's a
centered,
little
right?
off center. It's very off center, and in fact, you know how all trade paperbacks have a little groove down the front where you're supposed to bend the book so
Oh,
it doesn't
yeah.
separate from the cover.
Hmm.
Well, that one, the bend of that book, like the scoring page, is
Yeah.
actually on the spine.
Yeah.
Yep,
So it's
it's got very little glue in it.
hold on a second. Kentucky is a horrible place. I heard only the worst people live there. Yeah, me and Don Rosa. That's it. That's why. Yeah, so this was one of the Quad Pro books, and like I said, represent Versailles, Kentucky, or Versailles, Kentucky, if you live there. But they only put out what 6 books, I think, Curtis.
Yeah, there are six epics. I mean, they put out a lot more books than that weren't epics, but they put
Yeah.
out six epics before Marvel put a stop to it because they were all pretty poor quality, and most of them have been reprinted actually.
Hmm. This is one of
Like
the last few that needed to be reprinted,
yeah,
and
so I
they
think
use
we're good.
different paper stock too. By the way, for those of you that are not familiar with this, Quad Pro was bought out by Sheridan and it became the Sheridan printer. And the Sheridan printer is the printer that printed books like Hellions or X of Swords, the oversized hardcovers. I don't think they do trade paperbacks anymore. They're mainly doing like oversized hardcovers, but there's really not that many oversized hardcovers anymore anyway.
Okay, well, let's hope that the quality went up there.
I didn't have an issue with those, honestly.
Great.
But I do remember the Epic collections. So that's the first one. Thank you
Great.
all. The
Yes.
upgrading my copy has all those issues going on. Yes. What are all of the Quad Pro books? Oh gosh, I think there were 6 of them. Curtis,
It
you remember
was
off
this
the top of your
one.
head? There you go.
Um, Avengers West Coast Volume 1, Doctor Strange Volume 1, Spider-Man Volume 18, Venom. Is Venom Volume 18? And Hulk Volume 3, Hulk, The Leader Lives. And a reprint of Iron Fist Volume 1, the second printing, or the second edition. I think that's all of them. Yeah.
Um,
And then they had other ones like Spider-Girl Volume 1 was the complete collection that was quad, and there's a Cloak and Dagger volume, I think the third volume, Predator and Prey, that one was quad as well. So there's a few other ones mixed in there as well, but the epics were the glaring ones. So it's unfortunate that honestly this is some of the worst Daredevil material. I didn't like the content in this the collection at all. But if you want to have a good quality trade paperback, you're gonna have to replace it.
What, you
So
didn't like the content of Root of Evil?
no, I did not.
What?
I
Dude, this was when I was getting out of comics. I don't blame you. He had a new cool costume, man. Scott McDaniel doing some of this artwork. I love
so
his take on Elektra too.
I actually do really like this costume. Um, but I feel like Scott McDaniel was the only guy that could
Pull
that
it off.
actually kind of got it right. Whoever was writing it, whoever was drawing the costume afterwards, it just seemed, I don't know, a little off or standard or something like that. It wasn't as
So
special.
what's his name, right? Ron Wagner, if I'm not mistaken, that drew the issues because he was busy doing the miniseries. And then of course he went over to DC to do Nightwing.
Right.
But yeah, there's hit and miss in here, much like the rest of this era of Daredevil.
Yeah.
Yeah, these right here. I love these issues.
Yeah. Okay, we should keep going. Let's do the next one.
Okay.
We're getting a reprint of Fantastic Four Epic Collection Volume 1, World's Greatest Comic Magazine. This one has been reprinted before, but Marvel has said that they plan to keep at least the Volume 1s kind of in a perpetual state of printing, so I guess that's why we're seeing it here. I don't believe this one was on our reprint list, but it makes sense to be here.
You know, if only one of us had that handy. Right?
Yeah, it's not on the list.
Let me see if I can send. No, it wasn't. It wasn't even the top 30.
Yeah, but it must be out of print now since last February when we made the announcement. Otherwise, they wouldn't be pushing it back
So
into print.
I sent the top 25 to him. Daredevil volume 19 was number 6 on the reprint poll.
Right.
Yeah.
There you
So
go. A lot of people wanted that reprinted.
So I mean, I'm happy for the people that were missing this one.
Yeah. Okay. Coming up next in October, Incredible Hulk Epic Collection Volume 1, Man or Monster, another Volume 1. Like we said before, just because Marvel is committed to keeping those Volume 1s of the main long-running titles, I should say, I think. Because this one also wasn't on the reprint poll.
Correct. This one was not. I'm sorry. It probably was, but it wasn't in the top 30. But like you said, I mean, this is something that they've been wanting to do, was keeping the reprints of volume 1s going. So it's a good start. If we can get those in there from time to time, I think it's a good start. So this collects
more people
early stuff. Go ahead.
The more people that buy Volume 1, the more noise they will make to Marvel about a Volume 2. So then there you go. They'll just keep on reprinting those. Okay. Next one here. Also in October, Incredible Hulk Epic Collection Volume 20, Future Imperfect, collecting some of the Peter David era of Incredible Hulk from 407 to 419, plus the Future Imperfect miniseries and a few more. This is one that a lot of people have been asking for.
Yeah, this is a big one. This is the Peter David era. Gary Frank going on in his artist, and I'm looking here.
I don't know that it's on the list either, but a lot of people very recently have been asking for this one.
It was 20. It looks like 29 or 30 on the list. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm looking at the original list before we started announcing things. So I want to say it was maybe in the top 30.
Great. Yeah, this is a good volume too. I read this one in a couple days just because it's solid material. So that's 2 for October. 2 Hulk books, reprint books coming in October.
Yeah, so you're a Hulk fan. And Motormouth appears in a Hulk issue in volume 20, so I'll be waiting for this one. Thank you for that.
Motormouth. Motormouth, is that one? That's one of the UK characters, right? I
Yeah,
think.
she was. I only bought issues of Motormouth that had Cable in it, so it was like 2 issues. Any X-Men that ever made it into the Marvel UK, like Wolverine would guest star over there sometimes in Death's Head, or
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Death's Head 2. So this was a really good era. I really like the issues collected in here. What's up, Gabe? Representing Omni Bros. Yes, Marvel UK. Those were. I was hoping the Knights of Pendragon would be a huge hit for Marvel, but I don't know, because I selfishly want more of that era collected in an omnibus format, and a lot of UK people did too.
Yeah. Okay, so we keep going into November
Yeah, I
with
love
Captain America, Epic
Streets of
Collection
Poison.
Volume 16, Streets of Poison.
This
This
was
was
number 12 on our most wanted Marvel Epics reprint poll last year.
and this was one of the first Captain America Epic Collections to be released way back in the day. I don't even remember what year it was, but yeah,
It's only
one of
had
the
one
first.
printing.
Yep. So yeah, nice to see it coming back. Um, a lot of people have been asking for this one too recently as well, so this is perfect for all of you. Right smack dab in the middle of the Grunwald run,
Mhm. It's the
and it actually relates to the next one we're going to announce.
wait. Before we do,
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't have Jim Lee internal artwork, but when you have Jim Lee doing the cover art, it's the book, it's the cover that you use for the Epic Collection. Or not.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Ron Lim.
Ron Lim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ron Lim does have the internal. Does have issues in here though. Jim Lee is the inker on the book, so he has that like Jim or on the cover, so it has that like Jim Lee flair to it. But Ron Lim was the penciler.
And you get a more patriotic cover than that with the Statue of Liberty and the Twin Towers in the background.
2015 was when this was released. My goodness,
There you
June
go.
2015, according to Wiki. So it's been out of print
That's
for a
right.
while. Glad this one is
There you
back.
go. Yeah, so volume 16, and then also in November or in December, we're getting volume 17, The Superior Stratagem. And this one is a book that went out of print actually pretty quick. I think it was a pandemic release, and those books that right at the very beginning of the pandemic
Yeah.
sort of suffered.
You want to hear something funny? Uh, this was voted number 13. So Captain America 16 Streets of Poison was voted number 12. Captain America Volume 17, The Superior Stratagem, is voted number 13.
Oh, okay. There you
So they
go.
were back to back on our reprint poll.
Well, there you go. Now we have them, and this is going to make a lot of people happy, I think. So this is one that a lot of people have been asking for quite a while.
Yeah, I want to say this is when you said it was pandemic era. I thought it was a little bit before that.
It was before that. Yeah, it was 2019. It came out a
2019.
year before that, but it did go out pretty quick. It must have had a small print run or something like that. But yeah, those
And this
two
collection,
back-to-back apps volumes will make a lot of people happy.
Rick Levins, I remember doing a lot of the artwork in here. I think Kevin McGuire, right, is in here. Let's see his last name. But yeah, Mark Grunwald and Fabian Nicieza as well. So these are the two cap collections I needed. There you go, man. Both of them back to back. Coming back to print, hopefully, knock on wood, this year.
Okay, so that's December. How many do we have left? Just one more, I think. Let's see.
I think so.
Okay, so coming out in January is Stark Wars, Iron Man Epic Collection Volume 13, also one of the very first Iron Man Epic Collections. It's been out for a while, and uh, people have been wanting it, so here it is back.
This was voted number 24 in our reprint poll. So
Nice.
it is coming back to print.
And I don't know when the Armor Wars TV show slash movie is coming out, but this might be they might want to have this in print for when that whenever that happens.
Yeah, I think it's been changed into a movie now. I don't
Right.
think. I don't think it's going to be a TV show.
Who knows? Things always seem to be changing.
That is true. And those are the books that are being reprinted. And of course, we will be back next week to talk about the new books. As soon as we get covers, we'll start announcing those things. And what we'll probably do is split these up into 2 different videos, making it in like, I want to say August, right, to October, and then November to January, making it more fun for people to come back and talk about what they're kind of expecting. And like I said, you're going to see some of those books that we previously announced in one of those videos, or probably both videos. That was disappointing. Nothing for me. Well, Stephen, you
Sorry,
can be happy
Steven.
for the people that it's something for. That's the way I see it. It's been nothing for me as far as reprints for the last 5-6 years. I've been waiting for my Doom and Dracula Omnibus Volume 2. But I can see so many people being happy over the reprints coming. But we do have something else that we wanted to talk about. But before we do, here's a quick little recap that Curtis put together of the Epic Collection reprints alone in 2024.
So this is starting next month in February. This is what we've already announced before. So you can pause the video or whatever if you want to take a look, but this is what's coming out in this next year. And then the next slide here is what we just talked about just now. So just to recap, August is Daredevil, Root of Evil. September is Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Comic Magazine. 2 Hulks in October, Man or Monster and Future Imperfect. Yeah. November has Streets of Poison for Captain America. In December has a Captain America, The Superior Stratagem. And then in January, Stark Wars. And this looks a little bit more sparse than this month. But this month, they loaded some of the months with 3 or 4 reprints. So you spread them out over time, and we roughly have about 2 per month. We had some Star Wars last time, but we don't have any Star Wars this time, unfortunately.
For reprints?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can still access that email that I sent out. Because I want to say, I don't think the Star Wars books made it that high on the list, with the exception of the ones that we've announced. Let's see. Okay. Star Wars, The Old Republic was number 17. And I don't see any Star Wars. Oh, wait. There is a Star Wars. Hold on a second. Star Wars, The New Republic, Volume 4.
Right. So they announced that they were going to reprint Volume 1 in, where is that one? New Republic.
2020.
Did they not?
I thought we had a date already for that.
I thought we had a date on that. Maybe I forgot to put it on this list.
That's the Old Republic is what you're looking for.
Rise of Sith, Empire. Oh, New Republic there in April. Star Wars New Republic Volume 1. So Volume 4 made it on the list, but they wanted to reprint Volume 1. So There you go. Hopefully we'll get that Volume 4. That'd be great. Yes, people see it. People saw it before I did.
April. Thank you. Okay. And then somebody was asking a really important question. Where is it? Just saw it about. There we go. Anyone know about the New Mutants Epic Fallen Angels? Yes, that one is not in the next batch of announcements, meaning it's been moved out of the next schedule. So not canceled, because it wasn't really solicited, right? We just have early access or to this list. They're still going to work on it, but it won't be coming out until the next batch. So I guess not by January of 2025, which I know breaks a lot of people's hearts, right? Because people were hoping to finish out New Mutants in 2024, unless something changes, which it very well could, that they could be like, hey, we're going to move this back to August. I mean, we've had that happen before. We've had things like Planet of the Apes sneak in there, Volume 1,
Yeah.
because of the movie, right? So they were like, hey, let's add that in there. And that's probably the reason why something got moved out of the catalog and moved somewhere else before it was solicited. And there's another book, too, that got moved out, but I think we'll talk a little bit more about that the next time. How many books would it take to collect ROM in an Epic collection if it were to be printed?
How many issues is that?
Six.
70?
Six, I
How
would
many
think.
issues? Yeah,
ROM's going to be 3 volumes in
3
omnibus.
omnis.
Yeah, so I'm thinking probably 6, maybe 5, depending on how they map it.
Yeah, I was probably 6.
Iron Man 12 and 19 are also really wanted.
That's true. The 2 holes in the later era of classic Iron Man. That'd be great if we could get those at some point.
Yeah, it. Although I have shared with Kurtis some of the things that are coming, and we debated whether to share something new today just to get people excited again. What do you think,
Something.
Kurtis?
Well, I mean, Iron Man 12 and 19 are 2 of the gaps in the 80s, 90s Iron Man, but there's also one more. Um, I don't know. Should we say it? Or should we just wait till next week?
Tank Wars. Dude, I just started doing the epics. I don't know. The Omni announcements will be coming here in the next couple of weeks. Get the thumb screws on Kurtis. Yeah, let's go ahead and show them something that's we don't have the cover yet, but we do have the content and we do have the title. And that is
What's the
Iron
title,
Man
Omar?
Epic Collection Volume 22, Age of Innocence. So this is after the crossing, and this kind of wraps up this era of Iron Man before it went over to Image Comics. Not Rob Life. Was it Rob? No, it was Will Spertasio working on this title. Jim Lee and Will Spertasio working on this title.
That's right. So yeah, this has the last few issues of the crossing, including Time Slide and Age of Innocence, the rebirth of Iron Man. This is when he becomes a teenager in the armor. And I thought that they were going to put all 4 issues of the sign in this one because we got all 4 issues of First Sign. We got all 4 issues of First Sign in Avengers and in Thor and in Captain America, but they're only giving us 2 chapters, the last 2 chapters of this crossover, because Iron Man actually doesn't appear in the first 2 chapters. So we're only getting those 2. And then, of course, this leads us to Onslaught. So we get Onslaught Marvel Universe, which is the reason why the story that they tell that pushes the characters to the Image books, Heroes Reborn.
Yeah, so this is going to be the era where Jim Chung takes over the book, becomes the ongoing artist. I love this era of his art. And it's after Kaminsky left the book, I think. So Terry Kavanagh, this is the Terry Kavanagh era, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's right.
Iron Man. And it wraps up Iron Man, like I said before, it went over to the Image guys where they were doing their own thing.
So hopefully next week we can we'll have a cover for this. But this is the only tease that we're going to give you today. This is just a little bit of a taste of what we will be talking about next week, which I think, how many epics did I say we have to talk about next week?
Well,
19?
If we're splitting it up into 3 months, that gives us, without looking at the give me a second. Without looking at the reprints, we're looking at
18. Yeah, we have 18 books, including this one, this Iron Man one. We're only going to do October, November, and December. And like, it's going to already be like a 2-hour stream to talk about 19 books. So we're going to split it up. Yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Some of the stuff that was shifted from the last announcements will show up in these ones. And then we'll talk about a bunch of really interesting things.
How did Terry Kavanagh get to write every Marvel book? I don't know. I think he was just at the right place at the right time. I did tell him I enjoyed his Avengers: The Crossing, and he was like, "I've never had anybody tell me that." He was like, "Yeah, I bet." Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man 16. I don't think anybody's asked for that one.
I don't. Yeah. What's so great about that volume anyway?
Oh man, that would be a good gap filler, but we've had that before where people wanted 6, 26, and 16. That's so weird. Well, for some new Star Wars epics, you will probably be happy
You
then.
will not be disappointed.
Yep. Terry and Chuck Austin, the most disliked Marvel writers. I don't know. I think everybody has a day, right? I enjoyed some of the things that he did. Cap 16 and 17 are the final reprints I needed overall to finish off the cap that I want. Well,
There
good.
you
I'm
go.
happy. I'm happy that you're gonna
Perfect.
get those. But I am curious what people while we're here. Let's go back in case people missed it. We'll go back to the very beginning of the slide to just go through this list quick, and then we'll talk a little bit to the folks in the chat what kind of things they want to see. Okay, so these are the Marvel reprints again for the Epic collections that you all voted for. Most of these ones you voted for. Daredevil Epic Collection Volume 19, Root of Evil, replacing your Quad Pro in case you want to replace that. And then the Fantastic Four Epic Collection 1, along with Incredible Hulk Epic Collection 1 and Volume 20, Future Imperfect. If you've not read this, oh my gosh, you're in for a treat. George Perez alone is worth the price of admission. Captain America Epic Collection Volume 16, Streets of Poison. I want Amazing Spider-Man 18 reprinted. Well, you know what to do. Make sure you vote next time. And that will be sometime later or sometime in February when I do those. When am I doing the Masterworks? As soon as I get the covers and the video is approved. I have the content and the material. Oh, sorry. Captain America Epic Collection Volume 17 and 16 printed back to back. And Iron Man Epic Collection Volume 13 to wrap up this round of epic announcements. And then we teased this right here. And big thank you to Curtis for putting this together. Where can we vote? You vote here on the channel. I will make a video and we have a poll to make it easy for people where you just pick. I think we let people choose 5 books and it's a tier system. So whatever the most book gets voted on, that's what we put in the top 20. And I send David and the folks at Marvel the list of top 20. So this is the Epic Collection reprints in 2024. And we have Daredevil, Star Wars, Spider-Man 5, Star Wars Empire, X-Men 1, Star Wars New Republic, Cap 3, Daredevil 8. We have a lot, man. Spider-Man 19, Star Wars Old May has a lot of reprints. June gives us Avengers 1 and X-Men 12, Spider-Man. And this doesn't include the modern epics or the new epics. This is just the reprints. It's crazy. Do you know off the top of your head, which I'm sure you probably don't, but maybe Phil does, this will be the 3rd epic to have Onslaught Marvel Universe. Correct. That's going to be, you're going to be dipping a lot into the Marvel Onslaught Universe because it affects so many titles. Do you know how many other epics we're getting in May? Do you or Phil? Off the top of your head? Like
In May, let me see here.
Kind of figure you'd have a master list somewhere.
1, 2, 3, just 4 others. The other ones for May are Avengers 11 Evil Reborn, Spider-Man 10 Big Apple Battleground, Hulk Modern Era Volume 6, Who is the Red Hulk, and Planet of the Apes Volume 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the big month though is April. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in April, and 1,
Yeah, but
2, 3,
you
4,
already have
5
4
in
in
June.
May, right?
Yeah,
And if you add those 5, that's 9 epic collections in May.
that's true. Yeah.
It seems like if you're going to bump something, it might be from May. Maybe one of the reprints or one of the new books might get bumped out. Maybe. I don't know. Although those have been solicited. Yeah, there's a lot coming out in May. I can see some of them getting bumped. 7 epics in May. I think from Curtis's number, it seems more like 8 or 9, right?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 4 listed. Now the way that the solicits work though is that they often will pull from the last half of the month and the beginning of the next month to make up their month of books.
Wow. Okay. Well, but we'll
Yep.
we'll see.
It might even out that way.
We'll talk more a little bit about Guardians 2. That's the one that is also moved from the schedule. Unfortunately, is May a 5-week month though? That is a good question because you do take advantage of the big months, right? They do the same thing.
7,
Dude, where
14,
you been, Sugar
21,
Man? I
28.
don't
It's
recognize
not.
who you are without the hashtags, man. What's up? It's not a 5-week month.
No.
Interesting. What about Blade? Blade was also moved out. And like I said, some of the books that we've announced already we'll be talking about again in the next weeks. And your releases next week, are there any new series entering into Epic format for the first time?
Yes, there are. Yeah, there are. There are a couple.
Okay. I will I'll let Kurtis answer that because I didn't know how to answer that exactly because I always get put into a corner when asked questions like that. And the thing is like we can't announce it because they could change things around, and that's why I haven't hinted at anything. I haven't said, "Oh, you got Spider-Man titles coming, you got Spider-Girl, you've got new title," because at any moment they could change things around. We announced the Silver Surfer book how many years ago, Kurtis? 3,
A long time ago. Silver
and
Surfer 8, yeah, we announced that and like, man, where is it?
I think it was 3 years ago, and it's still not here. And
Yeah.
that was actually something that they approved that they sent our way. So at any moment they could change things around. So that's always something to keep in mind. But I mean, more often than not, we do have these books actually coming out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the intention is that we'll get them all, so there
I
we
think I
go.
saw a modern Spider-Man Epic Collection on Amazon.
Wow,
Mm,
that'd be
I
pretty
don't
good. That
think
would be
so.
Spider-Man Deadpool Epic Collection.
Yeah, unless you're thinking of Spider-Girl or the Spider-Man Deadpool. Maybe that was it. More Silver Surfer, please. Obnoxio the Clown Epic Collection. Yeah, I want to know what people want to see. What do people want to see next week? That always gets me excited, right? Like of course I prefer Omnis, but I like to see what people are really excited for. It was Brand New Day, Modern Epic. You sure you're not thinking
Hmm.
of the complete collections? None of this stuff should have leaked, and unless they put something on there that I wasn't aware of. Because this stuff hasn't even hit the catalog yet, so I don't know why Amazon would have it. Death Set 2. Chris, a man after my own heart. Silver Surfer 8 was announced October of 2021. Phil Owens remembers. I told you it was 3 years ago. Oh, well, almost 3
That's right.
years. That's crazy that Phil Owens remembers.
Phil has spreadsheets on spreadsheets. Oh no, Phil Owens. Phil Owens just has a good memory.
He does, man. Omar announces the book gets pushed back. Omar catches the heat for it. Yeah, it's all my fault. Like I've got any say. Holes filled. Love to see more of the original X Factor. Hoping for some more Silver Surfer. Indie Epic Collection. Interesting. Indiana Jones, huh?
That would be good.
Scarlet Spider modern era. I always want more Daredevil. Seems like a lot of people want more Daredevil. Do more. Marvel. Jeff. Now who's troll? Is that you, Bill? Next week's like Christmas coming early. Darkhawk would be fun. Great underrated book. I agree. Thank you for that. We need Marvel Team Up, Doctor Strange 6 and 7. I want to see Silver Surfer and Tomb of Dracula, Indiana Jones, more Daredevil, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Indiana Jones. There's my dude with the hashtag Punisher Love. Hope you've been doing all right, man. Hope the Alpha Flight epics. I'm surprised we don't have Marvel Masterworks of Alpha Flight yet. We're about to hit that era of Marvel and Masterworks format, the 80s. I want to see the last Star Wars and more Punisher, though would prefer Punisher Omni. As would I. X-Men 10 and 11. Spectacular Epics. Surfer, Spidey, X-Men, Marvel Team Up, Power Pack, New Warriors, World War II, Miss America, and Alf. You just have to throw Alf in there, huh? Amber, it doesn't surprise me that you want to see some Daredevil. That's awesome. Spectacular Spider-Man line started Iron Man 12 and 19, and Amazing Spider-Man 16. Punisher 1, X-Men Volume 16. I'm excited for Spider-Man Deadpool epics. How many do you think we'll get? That series didn't really go that long, did he?
It went 50 issues at least, I think, something like that. So we'll probably get 4 or 5 epic collections out of that.
Would love Inhumans and Darkhawk. That's nice. I'm hoping for Thunderbolts, more Thunderbolts now that they are so deep into Omnis. Want to see more Thor, want Epic series to be complete, so more focus can go towards the Thor modern epics, which start this year. That's right. The Houston, Benson, Hurwitz. Yes, what a great era of Moon Knight. Tell you guys, this is the beginning of the modern era. Modern era, Fantastic Four and Thor. I'm surprised we didn't see that yet. Curtis, do we have any modern era announcements for next week?
We've got lots.
We got lots, okay. Venus Volume 2 Masterworks. Wow, Jacob, you're going back. And more Thor and Surfer epics. Marvel Comics presents. Now that is a
second. Go back to the Venus comment.
Okay.
The next volume of the Marvel Atlas library that Fantagraphics is going to do is collecting the Venus issues that are not in Venus Volume 1 Masterworks. So it's picking up right where it left off. And Venus is an odd title because it went from a romance title halfway through it. It kind of did this weird shift to kind of sci-fi. So the Masterworks collects the romance issues, and then this next volume of the Fantagraphics Marvel Atlas library is collecting the sci-fi era Venus, all of the remaining issues. So that's coming out, I think, in March.
But that's not being published by Marvel, right? That's being
No, it's published by Fantagraphics.
Here's a question for anybody that's in the comments right now. Would you double or triple dip with Marvel Comics Presents epics? Because keep in mind, like Wolverine was a big part of that. And then later on, of course, there was Ghost Riders, Black Panther. You might be even quadruple dipping if you get the Marvel Comics Presents. Would you, Curtis?
I would. One thing is that barely any of the Wolverine stuff is getting into the Epic Collection. Only the first few issues of the Madripoor stuff. Like, it's in the Omnis, but it's not in the Epic Collections.
I'm sorry, it's in the what, Curtis? It's in the what?
I can't remember what I just said.
Yeah, I think, James, can you clip that, please?
But so yeah, and there's tons of stuff in the Marvel Comics Presents that just doesn't have a proper home anywhere else. And so to have a nice anthology series reprinted would be great. That would be fantastic.
90s Morbius, Marvel Team Up, Spectacular Spidey, Web of Spidey, any Roger Stern Spidey. This is a good question. Why is there no Star Wars Epic reprints for the second half of 2024? Well, keep in mind, Nikolai, there for a while, we didn't think we were going to get any reprints. And then people started voting for them, and Marvel started reprinting them because people were worried that, they're going to shift the focus over to the omnibus format and ignore the epics, so the epics will never be reprinted. But they have started to reprint them. So don't lose faith. And who knows, maybe another one will pop up. New Universe and Ultraverse. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. Whoa. Looking for Dennis O'Neil Daredevil. Which Silver Surfer got pushed back? Oh, who knows? What was it? It was Volume 8, wasn't it?
Volume 8, yeah.
He announced it in 2021, but then they took it off.
And Volume 8 should be the Herald ordeal. So
yeah, that's it.
3 years ago.
Hoping for some new 90s X-Men. Need to continue after Fatal Attractions. Punisher War Journal, Epic Collection, or Spectacular Spidey. Trial of Gambit. Gabe loves that story. Beautiful artwork, though. They should turn popular modern CCs into modern epics. That, I think, is the idea.
It's kind of what they're doing.
Yeah. Marvel annuals by year. That's an interesting one. Simpsons, Dazzler, Alpha Flight. Do you think Marvel will ever reprint the original stories that were created for the Marvel horror reprints of the comics in the 70s? I would love for those. I actually want a third omnibus of that. I know we're talking about epics right now, but there's enough material for a third omnibus that for some reason they didn't do. I love those Marvel horror books. Those Omnis are some of my favorite Omnis I own. And there was some double dipping there if you have like the Jack Kirby Monsters and these Steve Ditko books. Need Thor Volume 2. ROM. Give me Captain Marvel and Warlock, or give me Death. Warlock, like Self-Friend Warlock from the New Mutants, Phil Owens.
Yeah, that's definitely what he means.
No, he does not. Iron Man 12, Doctor Strange 6, New Warriors. I'm committed to Omni format for Star Wars, but I love seeing the epics printed and reprinted. Claremont Lepresti Excalibur. I bet that will come in the form of new or modern epic collections, because we wrapped up Excalibur just recently. Right, Curtis? Everything has been released in epic format, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, I'm sorry.
Excalibur? No.
We got the final volume of Excalibur for that first series. And then we even have the mini series collected in there, Excalibur 2.
Yeah.
Now we need
which was Claremont.
Excalibur and new Excalibur. And I think that would be no, Excalibur 2 wasn't Claremont. It was that mini series. It was the four-issue mini series. Claremont did that Kitty Pryde and Rachel mini.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The Excalibur
True Friends.
2, True Friends, yes, thank you. But the Claremont did come back and do Excalibur with Professor X getting out of his chair saying, "Oh, that so totally hurts." I will never forget that. He's still my favorite writer. Tomb of Dracula, need more Dennis O'Neil Iron Man. Better yet, can Marvel give us more Iron Man Omnis instead of epics? Don't say that around Curtis. What's up, Manny? Hey, Omar and Curtis, do you know who the character in the back pages of Silver Surfer Epic number 5 is? The one in the Marvel Fanfare 43?
Oh, man, I don't have I'm not by my library to check.
Let me see if I can find it really
Do you
quick.
have yours?
I'll find it.
Back pages of Silver Surfer number 5. That is, the Enslavers. That's the story that wraps up that volume. Unless it's in Marvel Fanfare 43.
Dude, are you trolling me? Did you do that on purpose, Manny? Thank you for the super chat, though. You talking about the Impossible Man? I hate that character. Is that who you're talking about? This is volume 5 of the Epic Collection. Is this what you're talking about? This guy? That can shapeshift into things?
Do you not like the Impossible Man?
I never liked the Impossible Man. I never did. Are you an Impossible Man fan?
I'm sort of indifferent. It depends. Sometimes it depends on who's writing. Sometimes he's fun, sometimes he's not.
Okay. Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, Ben Riley. More Ben Riley epics. Sleepwalker, Simonson Thor, John Byrne FF, Frank Miller DD, and Waltz Thor. Those would be amazing. And I know people really, really want those. Mainly Waltz Thor because of the color. Transformers and G.I. Joe. Oh, man. One day. Punisher War Journal, Omni Epics when? I don't know. We need more Punisher, though. I'm curious about how they'll map modern Star Wars, too. I think it'll be 2 lines, right? Star Wars and Darth Vader. And then
so they actually changed the name of the Star Wars Modern Era Epic Collection since we announced it. They're calling it Star Wars Modern Era Epic Collection Star Wars Volume 1 Skywalker Strikes, which means there'll probably be a Darth Vader Volume 1 and a Dr. Aphra Volume 1 and, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that's what we'll see. They'll probably keep them all as separate lines. And the main reason for that is that they keep on telling, like, they're making new stories still. Whereas the Dark Horse Legend stuff is all complete. They're not making any more. So you can mix up the issues and put them in a timeline chronological order. You can't do that when new stories are still coming out because you can't predict where those new stories are going to fall.
Nova, Amazing Spider-Man 11, Frank Miller era, Dev's Head. I love all these suggestions. Nick Fury, Shield, Thor 10, 13, 14, and 15. Those, you mean reprints of those? Because those have been around, right? Exactly.
50 issues of Spider-Man Deadpool.
Yes. Death's Head Epics, yes. Recently started collecting Daredevil and I'm dying for Soul Bendis. Bendis is coming out in Epic Collection. And Miller, that's going to take a while. Or of the Omnis, okay. Quasar needs some Epic Collection love. Ben Riley Epics, there's my dude. Agree with many. Would love Marvel TF and G.I. Joe. Same. Millie the Model.
Yeah, not sure that'll happen, though, with the rights going somewhere else.
It's a little bit of a mess right now. How many Silver Surfers left for completion? We just got one this month, didn't we? Just came out like last week. I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we got volume 14, Sunrise and Shadowfall. So we just need volume 2
Oh, it's a big. Oh,
and
and 8.
8, and then 10, 11, and 12. So 5 more. 5 more volumes.
Any other sickos wants X-Man, Nate Gray, Epic. I'm pretty sure Kurtis probably. He likes Gen X. He likes that era. You a fan of Nate Gray?
Um, yeah, again, depending on the writer. There's one that was written by Terry Cavanagh, I think.
Yeah.
And I liked that stuff. I don't see I didn't have a problem with any of that. With Steve Scroce on the art, that was fantastic.
Yeah, and after he left the book, it was Roger Cruz when he still had that Joe Mad style.
Right.
I can't remember who took over. Chris Cross, I think, drew the book for a while.
Yep, that's right.
It was before he went on to do the Captain Marvel book with Peter David.
And a lot of that series hasn't been collected before. They did 2 thick trades
Yeah.
Of the early stuff, and they did the Counter X stuff at the end of the series.
They did the
But all of
crossover.
that stuff in the middle, I don't think that they've done. They've
They've done the
reprinted.
crossover with Excalibur in the Excalibur Epic Collections.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of it has been collected. I think it's one of those obscure titles, like when you try to explain who Nate Gray is, especially because you have Cable, you have Kid Cable, then you have Nate Gray. It's like, what? Captain Marvel, Tomb of Dracula, Spider-Woman, Alpha Flight, Mantlo first. Now that's how you kick it off. Burn FF, Night Thrasher. Heck yes. Yes to Night Thrasher. Give me the original Captain Marvel. 70 gems. Like, hey, do you all know why Marvel doesn't use virgin covers for the classic releases, but do for modern ones? Probably because it's easier to remove it digitally. This is probably a better question for Kurtis, because
Yeah. Well, it does take a lot more work. Because with classic covers, they literally glued the logo right onto the original art. Like that is all of
or
the cover trade dress, that's all part of the original art.
or it became
Um,
part of the artwork, like where John
yeah,
Byrne's Stark Phoenix is crushing the X-Men logo in what 135, right? It's part of the art.
yeah. And so with the modern ones, because it's all done digitally, like that's just a layer that you can remove. So that's probably why they do it. Yeah.
Marvel Comic presents Epics. Man Thing. Oh, Man Thing. I'm surprised we don't have a Man Thing. I'm surprised we don't have Sugar Man. There'd be MCP Wolverine titles. Prefer MCP was presented by Story Arcs. Yeah, they did a collection of that, right? With Chris with the Wolverine trade paperbacks.
It
Only
would be
certain
interesting though, yeah. Like if you do have the Marvel Comics Presents, how do you package that in a 500-page trade? Do you present them per issue where you read like 6 pages of a story and then move on, and then you're not going to get the next 6 pages till 20 pages later?
So what's the point of a collected edition if all you're doing is putting single issues together like that? You might like it's just all you're doing is going back.
I think they would have to. I think they'd have to group those stories together.
Yeah.
Because other than Wolverine, which was a really long ongoing serial, they were all like, 6 or 7 chapters or whatever, and then that would be it. So they grouped those stories together and then kept it going. Probably how they would have to do it.
Maybe silly, but Omar, would you get the new Warriors Epics if they printed those?
Of course you would.
Yes. Why am I even kidding? Yes. I don't think I would get the Marvel Comics Presents. I love that stuff is in the Omnis. I think Marvel Comics Presents could easily be broken into 4 series. X-Men, Wolverine, X-Men Ghost Rider, or Wolverine Ghost Rider, Vengeance. If they wanted to put character names on the books and not something like MCP, it still would be
Right.
interesting to see how that gets mapped. Because I'm like Kurtis, like whenever I would go back and reread those issues of Wolverine or X-Men, I would just read those titles and skip everything else like Power Pack and Dazzler or whatever was included in those issues of Marvel Comics Presents. I remember getting so frustrated sometimes because I wanted to read Weapon X. I didn't want to read about what Black Panther was doing in Wakanda at the time. So you would almost have to separate them by stories. I trip all over those Marvel Comics Presents epics. So there we go. There are some people that buy it, but mapping it would be very important. There's some Thor Kirby epics out of print that I hope they reprint at some point. Well, make sure you come back and vote. There's going to be one-ups like Union Jack that wouldn't fit other lines. Marvel Comic Presents like could sell. Oh yeah, I'm not saying it wouldn't. It just how crazy or let me rephrase that. How much of a collector are you that you would be okay with that if it has a Union Jack story in a volume, but everything else you already own in Epic, or I'm sorry, in omnibus format, like Wolverine. Wolverine's going to be in every issue of those Marvel Comics Presents. But say you're missing that Colossus story that Andersenti did with Rick Leonardi, or you're missing the Havoc story. And like you mentioned, Union Jack. I'm late, but Streets of Poisons crosses heavily with Daredevil Last Rites. Crosses over? Ultraverse Marvel Comics presents Star Wars Infinites reprints would be nice. Ultraverse, yeah, that would be nice. I really do. I did enjoy a lot of the Ultraverse. Janice Fell. I know I'm on Discord. I've been very vocal about DC doing more Batman hardcovers. I think they're going back that route of standard size hardcovers. Omar, I saw someone else mention, have there been any requests for NAM? I enjoy those. I did too. That would take what? 3 epics, maybe? How long did
How
NAM
many
go?
issues
Do you
was it?
remember?
It went longer than I thought. It always surprises me how many issues that series was.
I want to say
I don't remember.
it was more than 50 issues.
Yeah.
Let's find out really quick. If only we had access to the internet at our fingertips. Oh,
They did
wow.
3 trades.
84 issues.
Yeah, there you go, 84. So we'd need 4 or
Yeah.
5 Epic collections.
Any event epics coming? Now, that's a good question because one of the books we're announcing actually has an event as the subtitle. That's all I can say unless that book gets moved. Because that's where things get interesting.
Yeah.
Because Kurtis is one of these first-time readers for the stuff that's been collected before in oversized hardcovers or in omnis because they're coming out in epics. So he was a little. What was it? The book that you were talking about? Thor. No. Journey into Mystery. You were like, I wish I had collected this.
Well, and I just read Dark Avengers. And Dark Avengers is this where Norman Osborn has his team of villains he's made into heroes. And he's battling with the Goblin persona. Everything in that series, every single storyline and plot thread comes to a head in the Siege event. And so you need to read the Siege storyline to get the end of the story where Norman Osborn is taken down. But in the Epic Collection, they give you a 1 page of text saying, oh, by the way, Norman Osborn was taken down. And then they get the last issue of Dark Avengers where he gets sent to jail. It's like, you're not including the climax of this story in this collection. Like, that seems to be a pretty bad move.
We're missing the X-Men Ultraverse crossover stories too. That's where the Phoenix came back. Phoenix Resurrection with Prime and all those characters. And we had a new character, and we had some of the X-Men. Well, I'm sorry, could I even call Sienna Blaze a D-list character? Was she a D-list character?
Yeah, probably.
Was it Reaper, yeah. Sienna Blaze, and Juggernaut got sent to the exiles. Wow. How would that ever be collected? I would love to see that collected, honestly. Remember, I think it was Todd Knock that did some of that early artwork. It was right after he did the Newman with Rob Liefeld. Sensational Spider-Man, 90s UK. Oh my God, I would love a Jeff Johns Avengers Omni, but it would have to be Jeff Johns / Chuck Austin. Not enough material by Jeff Johns. 90s Marvel UK was reprinted in a UK comic called Overkill. So that stuff should be collected as Overkill Epics. I like that. If they go and do modern epics for pre-render Venom, what even winds up getting collected there? Is it just a mess of Matt Gargan appearances? Probably the Marvel Knights story, right, by Mark Miller, which is so weird because it's canon now.
Well, and that's Matt Gargan, right? Yeah, but also like the Daniel, there's enough room for the Daniel Way series, and then Matt Gargan, because Agent Venom is volume 4, so yeah, we have 3 volumes worth of content that needs to be included.
I did see your super chat. It's the Impossible Man. This is who you're asking about? This guy in green and purple? The Impossible Man? Curtis loves that guy. I know I kill you, Phil. You love it. Omar, do you think Ultimate Universe will get epic treatments? I think that's a sure thing. Because we've had those come out before. We've had them come out in Ultimate formats. Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men came out in Ultimate thick formats is what they were called. All they have to do is just rebrand those to modern epics. And there you go.
Yeah. I'd
love if they took Robinson run of Fantastic Four and made a modern epic. Not enough for an Omni, but still for well, you say not enough for an Omni, and lately we've been getting a lot of slimmer Omnis. I'm not giving any ideas. I'm just saying it could work as an omnibus.
Is that the series that closed out like before they canceled the book for a while?
Yeah, he finishes out right. He leaves after Jonathan Hickman.
Fraction? Or Hickman?
Oh, that's right. After gosh.
There was Hickman, there was Fraction.
Yeah. Hickman, then Fraction, and then James Robinson. And that Fraction run has been collected in omnibus format. And until you mentioned that run, I had honestly forgot about it. That's how much of a lasting impression left on me. Are there any titles that you don't see them printing anytime soon, if never? It's a hard question to answer. You mean like titles that Marvel already owns? Like books that they already own? Like, I don't know.
Punisher.
But we did get a Punisher Epic reprint. And we're getting a Punisher Omnibus reprint.
Yeah. We haven't had Punisher Epic.
Maybe another one too. But I don't know. So I don't think they're done with that character. Nova, the other one. Sam Alexander, like modern Epic Nova. None of the pages end up pinned by Alan Weiss. Can't stand the Impossible. Okay, I thought it was the only one. The Impossible Man in the X-Men New Mutants annual is great, and Omar can't deny it. No, he's not. He got beat by Warlock because Warlock can change colors. Remember? That annual was ridiculous. 80s limited series epics with all those 4 issues limited series, huh? Astonishing X-Men 2 Sleepwalker. Heck yeah, baby.
That'd be nice.
Omar, who do you hate more, the Impossible Man or Gambit? The Impossible Man. 5th to the last page. Okay, wait. Hold on. Manny's saying 5th to the last page. So
do you not like Gambit, or is that some inside joke that I don't know about?
Oh, I'm not a fan of Gambit. I've always thought he was an overrated character, but that's just me. I know people love him. I think that's one of my. Is this the cover you're talking about? Like these guys right here? I swear if it's the Impossible Man again. Let me know, Manny. We're gonna get down to it because that's Thanos' dad, right? Back here. Yep. What's the name?
Mentor,
yeah. But hope he's not talking about the Impossible Man. The clips have been sent. My man, he's on top of it. Curtis, you've doomed yourself. 10 epics for the Michelini Spidey. It's a lot. Super Pro and kickers. Super Pros put food on the table for Fabian Nicieza. That's all I can say about that. Force Works epics, please. We need just one.
I don't think it would fit all in one. It would probably have to be 2.
There's only 22 issues, right?
But then, then do you just do half stories for all the, because they crossed over?
You're thinking about the Crossing too, Curtis. One of the best storylines.
The Crossing. There's the Hands of the Mandarin story. Like there's a lot of there's a Spider Woman mini series. Was that when she was in Force Works, or was that before? I don't remember. But there's probably a lot you could put in there to bump it up to 2. Some Marvel Comics Present stories.
Okay, Curtis, you talking me into 2. Maybe we should map my epics. We should start that line of videos. Dude, Thor, Spider-Man, and Miss Marvel in modern epics. Nate Gray, yes. Me. Omnibo came in at that interesting time at Marvel when people were leaving, and he was like, give me that Ben Reilly and give me that Nate Gray. Thor and Surfer are so close to completion. Chances on Ultimate Spider-Man epics, which we kind of talked a little bit about that. I think those will come. Thor 13, 10, 13, 15 have not been released to my knowledge. Those, Curtis, I asked earlier, those haven't been released? I thought they were. Oh,
Four
13,
books.
14, and 15. Those are the Walter Simonson era.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So you are correct. Steve Scrooge, didn't he do X-Men? He did. That's what we were talking about. He did X-Men. Then he went over to do Sensational Spider-Man. Then he went over to do a little movie called The Matrix. He did the storyboards for The Matrix. Great artist. He just did that Clobbering Time book that just came out this week, I think, with The Thing.
Yeah, I'm glad he's come back to comics recently. That's been nice.
I love when they do that, man. Do numbered series omnis skip over issues collected in author-specific omnis? No. That's where the dog. Hey, is that a Suikoden too? Suikoden too.
They'll skip over issues that aren't by the author.
Do numbered? Well, he's asking about numbered series omnis. So, like, I'm assuming you're talking about like Uncanny, like Volume 4. Like, is that what we're talking about? Because no, the series volumes don't skip over any issues, no matter who wrote them. So, you know, we have talked about double dipping with Uncanny 5 and the upcoming Prelude to the Massacre, or Massacre Prelude. I can't remember what it's called. But the one thing people haven't thought of that I'm surprised nobody's thought of is how many times have they reprinted Daredevil by Frank Miller? I think we're on its 5th printing, right? What's going to happen when we get to that numbered volume and it includes the Steve Ditko missing issue from that omnibus? And of course, it will use the original colors, right? They won't use the new colors because the omnibus uses the new modern, not modernized like Walter Simonson, and definitely not like the Alan Moore Swamp Thing Absolute editions, but modernized that people took note of it. They're like, oh, this is not like the original. Because if you compare it to something like the Marvel Masterworks, there's a big difference. So that's the question, is like, how big of a double, triple dipper are you? Would you be rebuying that volume because it includes that extra issue, or for the original colorings if you need more of that push? And by whole, I mean books unreleased in the middle of release books. Obviously, they are releasing Thor 24 this year. Yes. The declination era of X-Men in modern epics. Curtis, serious question. Why the preference for epics? Soft covers, affordability, consistent numbering? Yeah, this is a good question, Curtis. Why?
There are a bunch of issues that I have with Omnis, and one is that I hate dropping so much money all at once on a book. I don't have access to in-stock trades or anything like that living in Canada, so my Omnis are actually 150, $175 Canadian. Like, that is a lot to drop on a book. I also I love the format of them not skipping any issues. So when these epics came out, the numbered omnis, the only ones that really existed were the ones that that are collecting the Silver Age, and it's like, that's material like that's on lower on the priority list for me. As much as it's historically important, it's not my favorite stuff to read. So the fact that the epics are starting like in the 80s or the 70s or the 90s or wherever and jumping around, I absolutely loved. The biggest thing though is that I find it really intimidating to start a book that's 1,000 pages or whatever. It's just like I I when I start a book, it's like, well, I got to finish it. So if I have an option of reading that 500-page book or that 800, 900-page book, I'll probably start the 500-page book because I know I can get it through it faster.
You would never survive One Piece, Curtis. It's too intimidating.
No, but I could, because those ones are short. All of the volumes are short. And I can read one, I can be done, and if I can move on to something else and then come back to it later. But with an omnibus, I know, yes, I could put a bookmark in it and come back to it later, but there's just something in my brain that's like, no, I gotta keep on plowing through.
Curtis, but what if you're like, okay, you got to leave your house. It's an emergency. You can only take 5 books with you. Omnis.
Oh, man, well, I'm already in the middle of... I gotta take that one.
I gotta take my 35 volumes of One Piece, but I can only take 5 books. I was hoping for more Spider-Girl epics. Crossing fingers for 2025. You don't have to wait for 2025 for more Spider-Girl. That's all I will say. I'm asking basically because some classic releases like Weapon X Gallery Edition has virgin covers, and I was curious if they could do that. I think it also depends if they have the original art. Like, if the original art is accessible and did not have the covers, or like that Marvel Premiere or I'm sorry, not Marvel Premiere, Marvel Comics Presents logo on the cover. Maybe it's easier. But I think for the most part, the classic stuff always has the covers. In the spirit of last night's live stream, today, David Ayer announced he's abandoning the campaign for a Suicide Squad director's cut. Somebody somewhere is bummed, but not anyone here. Collect them by theme, Spidey. I kind of like that idea, collecting them by theme. But then where would you put characters like Union Jack, right? Is he Avengers, maybe? Like you could sneak it into an Avengers book.
There's a 2-part story that I like. It's Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos fighting Dracula in World War II. Like that's not gonna fit in any real book. And there's there's a mini series called Spellbound.
Oh,
and it
Spellbound.
had and there's a Marvel Comics Present like 5-chapter story with them with her in that. And like where does that fit in? Or the character from Venom the Mace. Like the character the Mace
Oh, the
had a
Mace, yeah.
3 or 4-chapter story in Marvel Comics Presents. It's like it's just random. There's random stuff. And so you either need to do everything or, save it for other books.
Yeah, you could put the Mace with Spider-Man. There you go.
I suggested putting the Mace in the Venom Epic Collection in that because it's the equivalent of one more issue. It's like that's literally the only place they could put that, but no, they didn't do it.
They were like, what the hell's the Mace? With Marvel Comics Presents, I think they could have the group the story. Otherwise, you'd have to print the whole 25-issue Panther run, which was collected in the Epic, right? Like they put that part of the Epic of the Don McGregor's trilogy. I think that's in the third or fourth Epic.
The third one.
Any new line announced next week? I'm hoping for Alpha Flight. I think Curtis answered this a little bit earlier. What did you say, Curtis?
I said we kind of do have some new lines being announced, but probably not the ones that you're hoping for.
Okay. Now, y'all heard Curtis answer that. It was not me. I did not tease anything. Omar, will Marvel ever put out the Malibu comics in omnibus format? I think they may. If they go any route, they probably will go the omnibus route first. I mean, it seems like that's what they've done with new things, like whether it's a licensed thing like Conan the Barbarian or ROM or Micronauts or Godzilla, or something that they've had for a long time that they want to try to get back out there. And that is the cross-gen universe with Sigil and Mystic. And of course, we did have that, what is it, a Taste of Cross-Gen trade paperback that came out?
Sorry, say that again. I just got a text from my wife and I had to look at it because I'm listening.
No, it's okay. I answering the question about the Malibu stuff, I think it would go omnibus route first before Epics. Seems like that's the trend that Marvel goes, right? Hey, let's put this out in omnibus format, see if it sells. Oh, now let's put out some Epics. If they still have the license, if they can still do it. Unrelated, but would you give me a Shadowland pitch? I'm very new to Marvel events. Do you recommend it? Do I recommend the omnibus? No, because a lot of those miniseries are awful. Do I recommend the story? Actually, I enjoyed Shadowland. And Andy Diggle's run in Daredevil gets overshadowed by people mistaking Shadowland for that omnibus. Like the Shadowland event was okay. The pitch is a little bit of a spoiler because the pitch is Daredevil's in charge of people he would not normally be in charge of. And I'm saying that as spoiler-free as I can because the tail end of Ed Brubaker's run leads into the Andy Diggle run and the status quo for Matt Murdock as Daredevil. But I definitely think if you can find the trades, check those out. You don't have to buy the omnibus. Don't think that because the omnibus is coming back to print, you have to have it. Unless you really, really like the event. Like if you read the Shadowland event, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to find out what's going on with Moon Knight and Power Man. Then more power to you. Aren't a few issues of Nam crossing over with the Punisher? Yes. There's Final Shadow. I'm just waiting for new issues of Spider-Girl to be in Epics, and I hope the rest of the MC too. Like Juggernaut 2? That was one, right? And Thor?
And next.
Thor. Oh gosh, I forgot about that line. I've always thought modern epics were a bad move. Now what do you think? Phil. That's the only way you're going to get your Venom, buddy. It's Bruce Jones
think he
Hulk
still thinks that.
collected anywhere. It is collected in trade paperbacks. It's collected in oversized hardcover formats. And if you're talking about epics, not yet. Nor in omnibus.
I think a lot of people think that that's where the Hulk modern era will start.
I think so too. There was a solo Venom story that had no host. What was that?
Right.
Is that in a
Dark Origin? Was that the Dark Origin miniseries? Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Marvel Comics
Spectacular
presents?
Spider-Man. Was it Spectacular Spider-Man?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
The FF Epic Collections, if they'll have the Remasterworks files, I can ask Danny. That's a really good question.
Oh, that's a great question.
Because
Bet they will.
we know that when they reprinted The Coming of Galactus, that had the new files in there.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. I'm pretty sure they will, but I will ask just to make sure. Combine Robinson FF with Zdarsky's Marvel 2-in-1 for an Omni. Oh, I like that. Thanos Epic Collection. I'd like to see how they will map that. Will they include just the heavy stuff, or would they also fit minor stuff like Adjective with Spider-Man? So I love that cover where he's holding Spidey up. I would. Dang, I need Spider-Man 3 and 7 to be reprinted, but happy for all. What's up, Aaron? How are you, buddy? This guy loves him some Spidey.
Spidey 3 was reprinted recently, wasn't it? I feel like it just got. When was that?
Oh, if only we
Maybe
had
it's already
a
out.
Facebook group that talked about Marvel Epics. Are you sure we announced that one? So I just came in. No Star Wars Epics reprints to this announcements today. No, not today. Warlock cannot change color. His color reflects his state of energy. He changed color in that annual, Phil. Don't come at me. How could the Annihilation Saga be collected? Marvel released a couple of complete collections, but War Kings. Oh. I mean, they could do it by event. Just do what they did with the OHCs, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Rogan Gambit Modern Epics. I would be all over those. No, I'm talking about the pinup where Silver Surfer is holding someone in his arms. It says Marvel Fanfare 43 by Alan Weiss. Okay. You're talking about the extras in the back? Oh, man, this is going to be... In volume, in this volume, right? I can't believe I'm taking this.
No, that's volume 5. He wants... isn't it?
He said
I think he
volume
wants
5.
Parable. Oh, I thought you said volume 4.
Dang it. Hold on.
Now I have to scroll back.
Hey, Omar and Kurtis, do you know the character in the back pages
Epic
of the Silver
number
Surfer
5.
Epic number 5? This one
Okay,
here.
okay.
The one in Marvel Fanfare 43. Here, I'll let you take some questions, Curtis. Epics are easy to read, and they aren't big and heavy like Omnis. That's right. IST also sells to Canada. However, Curtis.
Yeah, well, it's still shipping. Yeah, it's the shipping and the exchange rate. It doesn't make it any cheaper, actually, than just buying it through Amazon and getting free shipping. It's quite ridiculous. Now, I live close enough to the border, so I do have a U.S. mailing address, but I try not to use that as much as possible because it still is difficult to get down there and expensive. Okay, what is this? Oh, is that Nova?
I thought it was Nova too, but she's silver. Maybe it's just a miscoloring.
So what's the story about?
No, it's just a pinup. It's a pinup from Marvel.
Oh, okay.
43.
It doesn't relate.
It doesn't relate.
I bet it's Nova.
It doesn't credit the colorist. Just Alan Weiss. Also, I'd like to see Dennis O'Neil Daredevil. A lot of people do. Union Jack was never in the Avengers. Did he guest star? He guest starred. Yep. And Chuck Austin brought him back. Happy New Year to you. If you're trying to run out a burning house with 5 Omnis, you're going down with the house. That's like 60. That's why you got to start lifting, man. These Omnis aren't for weakos like Curtis, who can only lift his Epic collections. They get thick. Glass Sea Star Wars Stark Wars. Oh, this is Star Wars. New lines you can take. That as you will. Final show. Any news on the Masterworks announcements? As soon as I get the covers, I'll probably be announcing hopefully those this weekend or maybe next week. Also need the January pick for Marvel Masterworks. Alf did cross over with the X-Men. Need to get that Planet of the Apes Omni into an epic, which they did do. They did do. Shadowland
Hey,
gets
which issue of Marvel Fanfare was he talking about again?
it comes from issue 43. Are we gonna get to the bottom of this? Who is Silver Surfer holding?
Yes.
Because I'm with you. I think it's Nova. She's just miscolored. For some reason, maybe they were just running out of color and they were like, we'll just make her silver. Star Wars, the Marvel Years Epics 3 and 4. CrossGen is a super misleading name. There's not a single drag queen in those books. False. You don't know that. Always an instigator. The Daniel Way Venom series has no host, nor did it have a soul. It's pretty bad.
Huh.
And I've already seen The Thing. So if you like The Thing, you may like that. Kurtis should have his Omni shipped to his American family, and he can bring them. Kurtis, have you thought about this?
So I already do bring a ton of books. I do exactly that. I just don't do it with Omnis. But I buy I have this massive stack of books that I bought
You have
while
to
I'm
cross
here.
border.
So yeah. But Omnis, they're just I don't know. I the material's available in other formats, so I just don't need to. It's fine.
We got you here, Kurtis.
That
Gutter
is
law.
very true. Absolutely. Sewn binding is absolutely better than glued binding in a thick trade paperback.
But I mean, affordability is definitely a big factor in that, I think.
Yeah.
Marvel Comics presents Fanfare Team Up. I think that character with Silver Surfer is Juno.
You know.
She's silver. I don't remember her being. Like, here's one with Nova, right? But this young lady is silver, Juno.
Oh, Juno is silver. Interesting.
So I
I've
think
never even heard of
we
it.
got
I
a
don't
we
even
got
know
a
that's a
winner
character.
here. We got a winner. You can break a foot in the if the Omni falls in your hands from your hands. It's on top of the shelf and it falls. It'll crack your skull. That's what I've been wondering. Was Nova the same character showed up with Silver Surfer and Earth X storyline? Oh, that's what you're asking about. Oh my gosh. No, I don't think that was Nova in the Earth X story. That's the Jim Kruger story. That's a really underrated series. I love Epic Collections. I try to buy as many as possible. I'm reading Daredevil Volume 1 right now. In Black Panther, I compare the content of the omnibus with that Epic Collection, and the omnibus contains much more material than Epic Volume 1. Sometimes it's better to invest in omnis. Sometimes, yes.
What's in the epic? Oh yeah, because it includes a bunch of the first appearances, like the early
Yeah.
appearances in the Avengers. I do agree that that would have been nice to have in the epic collection, especially what's the name of Black Panther's girlfriend in the Panthers Rage in the Don McGregor series? Is it Melissa or Monica or something?
Monica
She
Lynn.
first appears. Lynn, yeah, that is it. Lynn?
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the Roy Thomas creation. Who actually was, she did show back up in the Don McGregor run. And then became,
yeah, I mean, it's she was introduced in Roy Thomas's Avengers.
yeah.
And oh yeah, Monica Lynn, that's right, Monica Lynn. And so it would have been nice to have the beginning of their relationship shown,
Oh, I see
and
what you mean.
also like M'Baku, the man ape,
Yeah.
for his first appearances in Avengers, that would have been great to include in there as well. So yeah, I think the Mighty Marvel Masterworks had some of those issues, right?
I don't know. I just have the omnibus, and the omnibus collects just the most important appearances by the Black Panther, and of course, yeah, the introduction of Monica Lynn. Essentials are the best format, low cost, lots of issues. Add a box of crayons, and you have endless entertainment. I don't know how I feel about that, James. You're just trolling. Monica Lewinsky, wrong. Juno is Hercules' granddaughter. Look at all this info. You guys are just full of information.
Yeah, so I looked up Juno, and her first appearance is 2010, so that can't be her in a pinup in 1986 or whenever that was.
And it was definitely
1991.
not her in the Earth X series. Can we expect the ROM Epic Collection, Volume 1, soon after the Omnibus comes out, like happened with the Apes one? I wonder. Apes is a little bit different because Apes is still Disney, Marvel, that. ROM is licensed. So think of like, I don't know, close to something like Conan. I hate for anybody to miss out on it, and I'm also not one to tell you what to go and buy with your money. Um, but I honestly do not have an answer for this one. I can tell you it's not in the next batch of announcements. There is no ROM Epic Collection Volume 1.
Yeah, and Planet of the Apes is also capitalizing on the new Planet of the Apes movie that's coming out. So that's the reason why they're coming kind of back to back to kind of milk that. But yeah, Rom, I'm not sure what the deal is there.
Shala Ball. That's the character. That's what he's thinking of.
Shalabal is his old girlfriend from.
That's the one that appeared in the first issue of Silver Surfer, right? Like Stanley and John Buscema's Silver Surfer, that flashback.
Yeah,
She turned silver?
I don't know.
Shalbal's the character. I'm hoping also for Silk Omni, but would they ever do modern era of Silk in Epic Collection? I would think so. I mean, anything that's been collected in complete collection is almost a sure bet that it will come out eventually in a epic format, modern epic format. Think that after the success of the ROM Omni, many people don't need it in epic format. I mean, Kurtis still does. Regarding the Omni Epic debate, I love epics for the affordability, consistent design, smaller size, and sheer breadth of material. For instance, Amazing Spider-Man epics collect way more than the Omnis. This is true, especially whenever you're looking at creator-centric Omnis, right? If you look at the Silver, or not Silver, sorry, I got Silver Surfer on the brain now, but Spider-Man by Eric Larson, it's missing the graphic novels that are included in the Epic collections. And the same thing with the McFarlane Omnibus. It's missing all the missing issues are collected in the Epic collection. ROM isn't where I want to put my money, but I would love to see that Michael Golden art. That's in Micronauts. You can find that in Micronauts. It's not Shalabal. If that's not Shalabal, she's the Earth in Earth X. That's who I thought it was. Then it's a miscolor Nova.
It's got the hair of Nova. It doesn't have the hair of Shalabal, that's for sure.
Yeah. Is my app just lagging, or did I arrive with the countdown still going? Are the Spider-Man graphic novels essential reading to understand the Omnis?
No, not usually.
But there's some really good stuff in there. Like Soul the Hunter is one of the best graphic novels, and it's not in that omnibus. It is collected in an oversized hardcover called Spider-Man Graphic Novels, I think. Yeah. Harold and Kumar go to White Castle remake, but it's Curtis and Omar find Amazing Spider-Man. 60. Thank you for the super chat. That genuinely cracked me up.
Do you have White Castle in Kentucky?
We do. Do you have White Castle? I was about to ask if you have White Castle in Canada.
I don't know in Canada, but we definitely don't have it in Vancouver.
Let's
see if it's in Toronto.
You got Crystal Burgers?
Nope.
Oh man, you're missing out. Especially if you need a bowel movement. I would say that the ROM Omnibus is doing really well selling out, would actually make re-releasing the material in Epics even more commercially appealing to Marvel, not less. It is going to be interesting. Do you think Marvel would consider Marvel's companion omnibus? Oh, the Marvels by Kurt Busiek. I would think so. That's a series they constantly keep in print. Wait, Is there more being announced? That's it, Ryan. You can go home now, unless you're home already.
Next week, though, come back next week, and we will be doing 18 Epic collections that are coming out between August, September, and October of 2024.
We are going to shoot for the same time and the same day. So next Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah. Says at the beginning of the stream, everyone keeps talking about affordability of epics, but the new ones are like $40 to $50 each, and an Omni is often 2 to 3 epics of the same line. The math isn't mathing.
How much are Omnis? Aren't they like $150?
Not all of them. Like most are $125.
If you had one that combined 3 epics, so let's say the epics are 500 pages, so if you had a 1,500 page Omni,
that would be 150.
So then it's the same, but you just don't have to pay it all at once.
Yeah, you're paying it in. Yeah, I mean that makes sense, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
the
makes.
bonus is that you get oversized, you get hardcover, and you just have
Oh
to
no,
weigh the pros and cons.
we went over that. Maybe we should just do an episode on just the pros and cons of both. So the Iron Man Volume 22 is the only new epic announced. The rest were reprints. Correct, Ryan. Correct. What is up, man? Omar and Kurtis, greatest team up and world's finest. Great to see you again. Gabriel, thank you for the
Thank
time.
you.
This is a cool live. Thanks for the info, guys. You are so welcome. That's why we decided. It's been a little bit since we've done this, and I wanted to take a lot of the Q&A. Unless we can't answer in detail, what's coming, but I do love reading all the people and what they're excited for. Now the question is, Kurtis, of all the books that people put on there, are any of them going to be in our announcements next week?
That people have been putting in the chat?
Yes.
Oh yeah, quite a few of them actually.
Okay. That's all we'll say. Shh. Kurtis, you
Yeah,
give
okay.
too much. You give too much.
Such as
A long shot, I know, but do either of you think we'll ever see the original Marvel Indiana Jones in either omnibus or epics? I have not heard of omnibus of that. I know people have been asking for it. It's a maybe. I mean, dude, we have Godzilla, we have Rom, we have Micronauts. At this point, I'm just gonna say maybe. Used to be like a probably not. Even though Disney does own the Fox stuff, but I think that's still a Lucas thing. It's kind of weird, but
do you
yeah,
think that there are some ownership issues that prevent it from being collected still at this point? So we'll
I
have to
don't know.
see.
I don't know. Do
Yeah.
more. I didn't know anybody was excited for that. That's awesome. I like the epic paperback better than Omnis personally. Canada math versus Kentucky math. That's what we will label the next episode. That's right. Marvel Visionaries, Daniel Way Omni, just for Omar. Why do you hate me? How long do Marvel have the rights for Rom? That's outside of. I think only a few people probably know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to thank my wonderful co-hosts for this live stream. This was a lot of fun, and doing this alone is so boring. Doing this with Kurtis has been just amazing. We've been doing this for years. And please don't beat him up in his Marvel Epic podcast collection group, Facebook group, because yes, we have to wait on Marvel to send us this stuff. So whenever we're like, oh, it's coming sometime, we just don't know when. Like we will let you all know. It's not like we don't want to announce these things, but we are
Yeah.
also at the mercy of waiting for these people that they're coming back from holiday break. They got to catch up, and they got to send us some covers. So we do have the contents. We do have the titles of the books, which I thought about teasing just some titles, but I'm like, no, I think people have come to expect the covers and the content by now. So yeah. So this is the Kurtis Epic Collection Speculation Group. Thank you for that, buddy, and his
Thanks,
Discord.
James.
All
Thank
right,
you, James.
Kurtis, where can people find you, buddy?
Well, I suggest heading over to Facebook to that link that James posted there because we have a special Facebook group that is all about Epic Collections all the time. Wonderful conversation, great people there giving information. We don't even get upset when the person has asked the same question a million times, one that we've answered a million times, because everybody, you honestly want to know. So
Yeah,
there
everybody's
we go.
new. There are always new people to the hobby, and that's something that is wonderful about your community. That
Yep.
that I try to push on people, because I know that whenever I do live streams, I get the same question over and over again. I'm sure some of my viewers that have been with me for a long time are like, oh my gosh. But you can't help to who's new to the hobby. Got to be patient. Omar
Yep,
doesn't want to
definitely.
announce Nam, or Alf. I don't want to. No, I'll let Kurtis announce Alf. How about that? Omar and Kurtis,
Nice.
I wanted to hear your opinion on some of the choices for the modern era epic books. I'm happy with Spider Girl. Very happy with that, because I thought that line was going to be discontinued, forever forgotten. So very happy for books like that will continue in modern epic format to finish out the run.
I think they've made some great choices with the modern era epic books. I think all of them are good starting points for people who want to learn about the characters. They're at the beginning of creator runs, I think all of them, and they are also all so far they've been collections that have been out of print as complete collections. And so instead of reissuing the complete collection, they're bringing them back as modern era. So they're making that content available again. So I think they've made some smart choices. I'm just not a fan of some of the mapping issues by leaving out significant like crossover events that drastically impact the character in the book. Like, come on, we gotta get that material in there for a good reading experience.
I think, yeah, I think it's a great way for people that haven't experienced any of the modern Marvel era stuff to get into it. Like, I think the JMS store is great. I'm really curious where Spider-Man's going to start. And it's interesting the choices because as soon as we saw the first Marvel Modern Epic, Curtis and I think after the stream, we were just talking about where would the series start? Where would be a good place for this to start? So they do bring up a lot of good conversations, right? Are they just going to rebrand all their complete collections? But it looks like that's not the case. Not the case every time. They actually put some thought into these things. So, dude, what's up, Maddie? I hope you're having a good day. That's my friend Maddie, everybody, who's also on Near Mint Condition. So yes, Curtis, your group, great group. Marvel Epic.
Yeah, otherwise just search me up on Facebook. You can, or on any social media, either search for my name or search for Epic Marvel Podcasts, and you'll find me. I'm all over the place. Where can they find you, Uncanny Omar?
I never leave. I'm always here. I have another video tonight. My Watchmen video was trimmed down from an hour, talking about how much I love Watchmen to 33 minutes of. I think they get the idea. Sometimes those editing, man, because I never realized like how much I go into talking about something. And before I know it, I'm like an hour in and I'm like, oh my God, I got to edit this stuff. Never leaves, never takes a break. Only when you take over the Saturday Q&A, Maddie, which you're always welcome to. Upload the uncut on Patreon. I don't think people want me to go, so this guy's really cool. But I think about that sometimes. But yes, I'm here. I'm always here. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget to join us back next week when we unleash the new Epic collections, the beginning of those. And hit that like button on the way out. Check out Walt's Comic Shop. They're based out of Berlin, Germany, if you live in the EU. And they have flat rate shipping rates of 12 euros for all EU countries. And use Near Mint Condition at the checkout. Get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order of over 40 euros or more. And if you live in the United States, check out cheapgraphicnovels.com. Tell them Near Mint Condition sent you their way. You get free shipping on your next order after your first one. And happy for my buddy here, Curtis. I think it'll work out good. We did get reached out by a Canadian sponsor. So hopefully we'll be talking to them a little bit more and hopefully saving you all some bucks in Canada because I know you all need it.
That would be great.
More on that next week, probably. That's it, everybody. Stay healthy and safe. Much love.